That's fine.
What's the quote? An ounce of action is worth a ton of theory. Ralph Waldo Emerson. He was a philosopher in, I think, the 1700s. I've talked a lot about philosophy up here, but what's bad about philosophy is if they're just ideas, they don't really do anything. They just live in a bookshelf, on your shelf, or in your brain, trapped in there like me. So I want to talk about doing things, civic engagement. We're at an interesting point in time in history. Whether you agree with the current administration or not, that's up to you. I don't. And I find that the best way to voice frustration is to get civically involved rather than going on Facebook and complaining like that. So let's talk about it. Look at my notes. Right. So Routledge did a complete survey on over 49 different studies on mental health and its correlation to civic engagement. They found that of the 49 studies, 97 positive relationships were found to be had. Meaning, if you were involved in like group volunteer work, any type of group work, you more than likely had less suicidal ideation, less suicidal rates, less depressive, what's the word? Anyway, they found 19 negative relationships. Often that came at the risk of voting, meaning the more civically engaged you get, the less likely you are to vote, which I found to be strange. But anyway, and 59 null, meaning like there's not a clear definition of good or bad, it's just there. For example, some feminists have issues trusting men after getting involved with feminist groups. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, men pose an existential threat to women, so they couldn't ascertain whether or not this was bad or a good thing. So, this was done by Routledge, Journal of Youth Studies. However, there's an argument to be had where there's minority groups in America. A different group, Journal of Research on Adolescence, did a cumulative research study on both Israeli students and Palestinian students. They found that Israeli students, on average, volunteered less and did group work less. They found less camaraderie within their own communities. Strange. Palestinian groups, however, often were involved with group work and community membership. However, they argued in their interviews that they felt disconnected from the community and disconnected from society at large. Oftentimes, their involvement in their community led to open-faced discrimination from Israeli members of society. So what does that mean for us? That means that we're going to kind of have a harder time as minority students in America. However, we still have an ethical obligation, right? 1 ounce of action. Recently, I've been doing something, let me show you guys. It's called documentation. This is something anyone can do. It pays $17 an hour if you want to do it at home. Yes, do it at home in your bedroom. That's what I do. Or $20 an hour if you want to go downtown and go sit in the meetings. I don't really do that. But basically, what you would do is you'd find a meeting. These are all in Los Angeles. I did this one. So you go to a meeting and you take notes. You just write about what they talk about, what they said. In this specific one, they were talking about bringing businesses to northern Bismarck. I generally thought that was a good thing. However, I've kind of been having an ethical dilemma because members of the community, the civic engagement part, guys, members of the community came out and they argued that it wasn't a good thing, that actually they would prefer businesses stay downtown, away from their schools and their environments, because in their words it brings different groups, different members. She was very vague, which leads me to think she might not be that kind of a person. The thing is, this is an actual tangible thing you can do. Doing notes, going to a meeting every now and again. Not only that, it helps you like understand what's going on in your city. I learned going to these meetings that there's going to be a counter protest against the Pride Parade last year, to the point where they had to move it. Yeah. These little ways that we can help, one of the 97 positive relationships was that it helps us find a sense of not only community, but a sense of change and control in a constantly uncontrollable world. I don't even know how long I've been talking.
6.
6 minutes only? Wow. Okay, what else was I going to talk about? Oh, right. I'm also a part of the Human Rights Council of North Dakota, NDHRC. These hold statewide different kinds of groups. One that's held in North Dakota, or Bismarck every year is the LGBT youth group, or youth leadership group. They come to usually a hotel in Mandan and talk about what is affecting our LGBT youth in schools, in the state overall, and how you can get involved and how you can help them. Sometimes it's literally just, hey, we need money, could you guys give us $10? Other times it's, we're going to be staging a protest and we really need some bodies. There's also non-formal groups I'm a part of. Just recently there was a protest up by the Capitol, I'm not sure if any of you guys saw it, against the renting stuff that's happening and the deny, defend, depose stuff against Elon Musk. But for North Dakota specifically, or Bismarck specifically, Bismarck renters have been in a fight against a lot of the landlord companies in Bismarck, mostly because they aren't doing their job. They're not maintaining their properties, they're letting their residents freeze and then continually charging them, and then threatening them with lawyers and police when they withhold rent. It's really fucked up, it's really bad, but nobody knows that. Nobody, like, people don't hear about that unless you're getting involved, unless you're civically engaged. Wow, I really lost the thread of this, huh? I don't know where I'm at.
Do you have your outline?
No. I left my phone over there even.
It's up there.
Right.
That's why we have them.
What?
Do the link. Go to the class. Go straight up. Okay. You want to go to B. Scroll down. Go to the 9 comments. Go up. There you go. You can pause. That's good. Yeah, you can pause. Speakers own it. Good.
Man, I've already covered all this. I went too fast. All right. I guess I could talk about why I did this. This was supposed to be at the beginning. Let's pretend we're at the beginning again, guys. I've been civically involved, civically engaged since I couldn't have a choice. When I was 16, in 2016, when I was 12, my mother took me to the Women's Rights March in Minneapolis, one of the largest gatherings of women after Donald Trump's first election. really powerful, really amazing stuff. Made me realize kind of how important it is to be involved. Later on, I learned that my grandmother ran away from Flanger Indian Boarding School to join the American Indian movement at the occupation of Wounded Knee. So you can say that this has been inside of me for a while. And lately, I've had to take a step back. I'm trying to get back into it. A few years I've been involved in the Orange Shirt Day celebrations, gathering things that happen in the community. For the past 3 years, I've done the candlelight vigil at the end of the celebration, close to the water by the Bismarck Indian Boarding School. And I've also been involved with planning the runs and the walks that we do every year. It's a fun time. Sometimes it's just nice to come out and have some free food. Usually we have free food, so come out. How much time do we got left? Great. And that's all. That's it.
Thank you.